I need you to be completely honest with me right now.
Okay.
If I told you, hypothetically, that the absolute secret to glowing, ageless, perfect skin involved smearing salmon sperm on your face, would you actually do it?
It is the question of the moment, isn't it?
It is everywhere. I feel like I cannot open a single social media app without seeing it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm scrolling my feed and suddenly there are headlines about salmon sperm facials. And I have to admit, my initial reaction is just sheer panic. Maybe a solid dose of nausea.
That is a completely rational reaction.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like shock marketing at its absolute finest.
Exactly. It feels like the broody industry has finally run out of ideas. Like they looked at the snails, they looked at the bee venom, and they said, you know what, let's raid the aquarium.
It does feel that way on the surface. But, and you know there is always a but, when you stop looking at the clickbait headlines and actually open the medical journals, the story changes completely.
And that is why we are here. Because underneath the gross out factor, there seems to be some incredibly dense, serious science happening.
There is.
So today, we are going to look past the ick. We are doing a deep dive into PDRN.
PDRN.
We're going to figure out if this is just internet hype or if this actually belongs on our vanity shelf next to the vitamin C.
And to give you a spoiler, it is definitely not just hype. PDRN, or polydeoxyribonucleotide, actually represents a massive shift in how we think about skincare.
How so?
We are moving away from the era of anti-aging, which is usually about, healing and irritating the skin into submission and moving toward regenerative medicine.
Regenerative. That sounds a lot more intense than just moisturizing.
It is. It's about biological repair. And for this deep dive, we have pulled together a really robust stack of sources. We've got a clinical study published in 2025 focusing on the eye area.
Okay.
We have industry trend reports looking ahead to 2026, breakdowns from brands like the Inky List and Skin Food, and of course, the brutally honest community discussions from Reddit.
Okay, let's unpack this. First things first. We have to address the elephant, or the fish in the room. What exactly is PDRN, and why are we getting it from salmon?
So PDRN stands for polydeoxyribonucleotide.
Which is a mouthful.
It is a massive word.
Yeah.
But essentially, these are just DNA fragments. They are extracted and highly, highly purified. And yes, the traditional and most potent source is from the sperm of salmon.
But why? Is there something magical about salmon DNA? Why not, I don't know, cow DNA?
It all comes down to biocompatibility. It turns out that the DNA-based composition of salmon is incredibly similar to human DNA.
Right.
Yeah, so they have a very similar molecular weight and structure. And this is crucial because our immune system usually attacks foreign substances, right?
Right.
But because salmon DNA is so similar to ours, our cells can actually utilize it without triggering that massive immune rejection or irritation.
Okay, but I have to ask the practical question. If I go out and buy a serum with this stuff, does it, smell? Is it gross?
No. And this is so important to clarify. You are not rubbing raw biological material on your face.
Thank goodness.
The sources all emphasize that this goes through a rigorous purification process. They remove all the proteins, the lipids, any potential allergens.
So they strip out all the fishy parts.
Completely. It undergoes high-temperature extraction and enzymatic digestion. What you are left with is pure genetic material nucleotides. There are no actual sperm cells left. It is a sterile medical-grade ingredient.
That makes me feel significantly better. And you mentioned medical grade, so this didn't start as a beauty trend, right?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
This technology actually has a deep medical history. It was developed in Italy way back in the 1980s.
Okay.
And it wasn't for wrinkles. It was for serious wound healing. They use it to repair tissue in severe burns, diabetic ulcers, that kind of thing.
So it's hardcore healing.
Exactly. It's used when the skin is fundamentally broken and needs to rebuild itself. It then transitioned into Korean dermatology clinics as skin boosters, so injectables. And now we're finally seeing it in topical skincare.
Okay, so it's safe, it doesn't smell like a dock, and it heals burns. But how does putting DNA fragments on my face actually make me look younger? I mean, how does the skin read this DNA?
That's a great question. Think of PDRN less like information and more like a key. A key, okay. There is a specific receptor on the surface of your skin cells called the adenosine A2A receptor.
Adenosine A2A, why does that receptor matter?
Because that receptor is essentially the on switch for cellular repair. PDRN binds to that receptor like a key in a lock.
And when it turns that lock,
It flips a repair switch inside the cell.
so it's telling the cell, hey, wake up, it's time to get to work.
Precisely. It triggers what we call a wound healing cascade, but here's the trick. It does this without the skin actually being wounded.
Oh, I love that concept. Wound healing without the wound.
It really is the holy grail, because usually to get a massive boost in collagen, we have to injure the skin, microneedling, lasers. We're forcing a repair. PDRN just tricks the skin into doing it without any of the trauma.
And does the data back that up?
The data is striking. I was looking at that 2025 study. They took human skin cells that had been damaged by UV radiation, so basically sun-aged skin, and treated them with PDRN.
And what happened?
They saw collagen I increase by roughly 300%.
300%. That is massive.
And collagen III, which is often called baby collagen because it's so prevalent in young skin, went up by over 500%.
Wow. So it's not just a little boost, it's a complete restart for the cell.
It is a structural overhaul. Elastin, which gives your skin that snap-back quality, increased by about 250%. But what's really fascinating is that it also cleans up the old damaged stuff.
What do you mean by that?
The study highlighted that PDRN increases something called autophagy.
Autophagy, I've heard of this. It means self-eating.
In a cellular context, yes. It's the cell's decluttering phase. It helps clean out damaged proteins and cellular trash. So you're clearing out the debris that makes skin look dull and aged.
That is incredible. It's a renovation crew and a cleaning crew in one.
And an anti-inflammatory crew. It significantly downregulates inflammatory cytokines. So if you have redness or sensitive skin, it calms that whole environment down.
Okay, you are selling me on the science, but I have to play devil's advocate here. I was reading through Reddit threads, and there is a lot of skepticism. A lot of people are saying, this works as an injection, sure, but topically, it's just expensive water.
Sure.
Because DNA molecules are big, right? Can they actually get through the skin barrier?
You've hit on the central debate, and it's a valid critique. PDRN has a molecular weight anywhere from 50 to 1,500 kilodaltons. And the 500 Dalton rule in skincare says anything bigger than that has a really hard time getting through.
So the skeptics are right.
Not entirely. This is where that 2025 study becomes really important. They didn't just guess. They used something called Raman spectroscopy.
Which is what, exactly?
It's a laser-based imaging technique. It lets scientists literally watch where molecules are going inside the skin tissue.
And what did they see? Did it get in?
It did. The images showed time-dependent delivery into both the epidermis and the deeper dermis. Penetration really increased between the 6 and 24-hour mark. So it gets there.
How is that possible if then the molecules are so big?
Well, formulation is key. But brands are also getting very clever with delivery systems. Did you see the mention of spicules?
Yes. The Riedel shot product. That sounded, honestly, kind of painful.
It's a fascinating trend. They're using sponge-derived microneedles, these microscopic structures, mixed right into the cream. They create tiny physical channels in the skin to help the PDRN drop deeper.
So it's like liquid microneedling in a bottle.
Exactly. You feel a little tingle, and that's the channel opening up. Other brands are using liposomes, so wrapping the DNA in a little fat bubble to help it slip past the barrier.
Okay, so we know it works, and we can get it into the skin, but let's go back to the source. Salmon. Even if it's purified, relying on fish sperm feels, I don't know, a bit unsustainable.
That's a great question, and leads us to one of the most interesting innovations in this whole space. The industry is pivoting toward phyto-PDRN.
Plant-based PDRN.
Exactly, plant DNA. We don't need the sperm part, we just need the nucleotides. The sources mention PDRN derived from ginseng, and get this, bananas.
Banana!
Yes. Specifically, the sources mention skin food banana PDRN, sourced from organic Sanchon bananas.
That is a sentence I never thought I would say. I'm putting banana DNA on my face.
It sounds funny, but from a molecular standpoint, it solves a lot of problems.
Yeah.
And this is the key. Plant PDRN often has a lower molecular weight than the fish variety.
Oh, really?
Yes. So going back to your point about penetration, the plant-derived versions are smaller.
Which means better absorption.
Exactly. Potentially better penetration without needing all the spicules or needles.
Wow.
And early research suggests it hits those same regenerative pathways.
That is fascinating. So the banana might actually beat the salmon.
It's very possible you get the efficacy, but with a molecule that fits through the door a little easier.
Speaking of results, let's talk about what this actually looks like in the mirror. We saw the cellular data, but what does that mean for my face?
Well, the clinical trial on the eye cream was very revealing. It was a split-face study. One side got PDRN, the other got a placebo over 28 days.
And the eye area is notoriously hard to treat.
Right. And the results were specific. Dermal density, so how
Uh,
thick and strong the skin is, increased by almost 9%. But the visual changes were what stood out. Eye bag volume decreased by over 18%.
18% reduction in eye bags in a month. That is significant.
It really is. Usually for eye bags, you're talking about surgery or very temporary tightening gels. To see a structural reduction like that from a cream is rare.
And this matches up with what the Reddit users were saying. I kept seeing the phrase glass skin.
Yes, glass skin, improved texture, and a lot of comments about calming redness, which tracks with that anti-inflammatory data we saw. So it's not just tightening, it's clarifying.
So who is this for? If you're listening to this, how do you know if you need PDRN in your routine?
Based on its profile, it's a powerhouse for a few specific groups.
Yeah.
First, people with sensitive skin who just cannot tolerate retinol.
Right, because retinol works by irritation, basically.
It speeds up turnover, which can be harsh, PDRN repairs, so it is a much gentler path to the same goal.
Okay, who else?
Second, anyone with a damaged barrier. If you've overexfoliated or your face just stings, this is great for rebuilding that density. And third, anyone looking to prejuvenate.
Prejuvenate.
It's a real concept, preventing the damage before it sets in. Since it heals UV damage, it's like a great biological insurance policy for your morning routine.
Okay, let's talk routine. If I go out and buy a PDRN serum banana, maybe where does it fit? Can I mix it?
It is highly compatible. In fact, some brands suggest it pairs beautifully with retinol.
Wait, I thought you said it was an alternative to retinol.
It is, but if your skin can handle retinol, using them together is like a 1-2 punch. Retinol hits the gas on cell turnover, and PDRN fuels the repair of those new cells. They're synergistic.
So how do you layer them?
The advice is to use PDRN in the morning, retinol at night, or if you're sensitive, use the PDRN first as a buffer before the retinol. It kind of cushions the blow.
What about vitamin C?
Also a great pair. Vitamin C protects, PDRN repairs. It's a very comprehensive strategy.
I want to touch on something from one of the trend reports. They talked about a trend called recession beauty.
Yes, the economic angle.
The idea that people are pulling back on expensive professional treatments like injectables and looking for at-home dupes.
Exactly. We are seeing this huge shift toward at-home clinical treatments. PDRN fits perfectly here. It's literally an injectable product that has been adapted for topical use. It promises that clinic-grade result without the clinic price tag.
And without the needles, unless you count the tiny sponge ones.
Right. It's a way for you to feel like you're taking control of your skin health biologically, not just cosmetically.
It really feels like we're entering a new era here. It's not just about moisturizing anymore.
No. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the 2026 trends, we are seeing this theme of life resilience.
Life resilience. I like that. What does it mean for beauty?
It means the industry is moving away from just covering flaws. The goal now is to biologically strengthen the skin's ability to repair itself against stress, pollution, and aging. PDRN is the poster child for this. It's not a cover-up, it's a rebuild.
So to wrap this up, PDRN is definitely more than just a gross-sounding fad.
Absolutely. It is a scientifically backed wound healer that boosts collagen and density. It's proven to penetrate, and the plant-based options are making it even better.
And it might just save you from needing those under-eye fillers.
The data certainly suggests it can help. Significantly.
Here's a final thought to leave you with, and this one kind of blew my mind. We are using DNA fragments from salmon, from bananas, to essentially trick our skin into flipping a genetic switch that says, heal me.
It really is hacking the system.
If we can do that with PDRN, what other biological switches are hiding in our cells, just waiting for the right molecule to turn them on? Are we on the verge of not just treating skin, but programming it?
That is the frontier. And I think we are just scratching the surface.
Something to mull over while you're doing your skincare routine tonight? Thanks for listening to this deep dive. Don't let the salmon scare you off. The science is solid. See you next time.